Hey guys, welcome back to Hendrickson Family Farm. Today we're going to be looking at the M&W 1500 baler. I haven't videoed very much of it because I've just had so much stuff going on trying to get the bearings and everything for it. But I'll show you guys and kind of explain it to you right now. So this is the M&W 1500 baler. So I have the tires off down here, and then where this chain goes back, there's two rollers. They set right here. The back one had bearings out of it. The front one bearings were fine. It was causing it to jam up. Today we're going to get the races out of the shaft that goes in the back deal. We got the new bearings in. They're stuck, and that's one of the things I want to show you, how to get a stuck race out and it's just not moving. So these are the rollers here that go underneath it, and then the wheels mount to the brackets down here, and here's another one on the side here. But what our problem is, maybe we go to the other side, maybe it's a little clearer. If you look right here, this is the race that goes in there, and it is a tape, or it's a pillar block bearing race, which that just means it's not flat on the top. It is rounded, so it can go in, it turns, and it locks it into place. It's seized in there on both ends, and there's a little hack of getting those out, and I'll show you guys that real quick. Maybe it's just a little information I can give to you. So I'm going to kind of be off screen here just so I can show you guys what's going on here. But what you're going to want to do is, you can do it with a stick welder, you can do it with a MIG welder. What I have here is a MIG welder today. You just run a bead all the way around that race, and whenever it gets hot, and the weld will pull it tight, so it will make it loose inside of there so you can get your race out. My boy used the welder last and he has the settings all messed up. So now we got it out, we got it welded all the way around. While it's hot, it may not knock out of there. We'll give it a shot real quick. Just like that, it comes right out. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty little simple deal, but like I say, that not a whole lot of people know about it. When I've shown a few guys at work, they're kind of like, how the heck did you know that? And it's one of those things you pick up from old timers. We'll go switch around and do the other side. And Again, it's the same thing on this side. To stay on that race, and I'll show you guys with a hammer real quick. I didn't check this side, but I know I checked the other side. Yeah, it's not moving, it's seized in there. After you weld that race and shrink it, it just shrinks just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just enough to break everything loose, and then it'll pull right out. And I'll show you again on this one right here. And they don't have to be pretty welds. All you're doing is really just getting that weld on there, and it'll pull it. Yes, it's not real difficult. It's just a little hack to get stuck bearings out. I just thought I'd show you guys because there's just a little bit of information that someone might need in the future. Now I just got a little cleanup work to do, and I got to cut the other race off of the shaft. So guys, we're putting this race in on this side. I did the other side. They're a little stiff because of the heat from earlier from welding on them, which it's not a big deal as long as you don't get too carried away and just hammer the fire out of them and break your race where you have to buy another bearing. You'll be all right. So one thing you can do to kind of help it slide over the metal is put a little lube on there, whether it be some WD-40 or something. I have some used motor oil. That's what I'm just going to just rub on the inside of there, and then on the race itself when I put it in there. Just to make it a little bit slicker going down in there. And rubbing your finger in there kind of helps clean it all out too, so that's something to think about. But this is what I was talking about earlier. That race, it's rounded instead of being flat, so it goes in and turns and sets, and that's what locks it into place, so you don't have to have snap rings holding it in to keep it from coming out. It's called a pillar block bearing, and I just got them on Amazon. It's 49.5 millimeter internal there, and 85 I believe on the external of the bearing. Now it looks a lot worse than what it is putting this bearing in, but I am using a brass hammer to get it to go around there, so be sure and keep that in mind whenever you're doing it. And then once I'll take a punch with a steel punch and a hammer and knock it around. And then make sure it's relatively flat. It'll straighten out when you put the shaft in there. It'll straighten out. It's not terrible hard to move. See, that's all we needed right there. And now all we have to do is cut the other race. I'll show you here. Right here, we just need to cut it off and get it off the shaft, and then we put that back this whole assembly back together, because it has to be one part or one piece to get it to go up and in the baler. It's going to be pretty difficult. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it by myself. Show you guys what I'm doing here when I'm cutting it. You don't have to get all the way through it. You don't have to get all the way through the race in order to break it. See, this is the bearing that was the main one that was bad. So it was already cracked over here in one spot. So since it's easy to spin that thing around, we'll go ahead and cut it here, and then come off in two pieces, then we don't have to take it all the way down the shaft. I think I just got stung by a wasp.
Did you?
Yeah, right on the back.
Are you okay?
So then you have to put your new lock collar that goes on there. You have to put it on. Hey, Landon,
Yeah.
come around here, bub.
Yeah.
And then tell me what I need to do to get that shaft in there. I think if I need to come up, down.
Okay. Alright. Go to.
So another thing, whenever you're putting these type of pillar block bearings in, it turns and it locks into place. So the bearing doesn't move. Another thing I need to do before I put this end cap on is I need to take some sandpaper in here and clean it up so it goes on there, because it was seized on pretty bad. The other side was seized on so bad I couldn't even get it off. I ended up drilling a hole on the back side over here and putting a puller on there and trying to push it out, and it just wouldn't come off. So I got one side, that's all I needed anyhow. So we'll get this side put all together and call it a day. So guys, to get that spot where that shaft goes cleaned out, we make these deals at work, and just when you don't have a hone available that you can hone a cylinder out with. So all it is some emery cloth tied to a socket, and it just spins, and you just run it around the hole. I'll give you a little demonstration of it, but it'll clean that hole right up for us to get this in there. I don't know if you can see in there. I'll try to get a better shot for you. But if you look in there, it just shined all that metal up, got all that old rust off of it. So it'll go down in there. Now the only other thing to do is put some anti-seize on it and put it back together. I'm a big, one of the manufacturing places that I worked at as a maintenance guy, if you didn't put anti-seize on something, it was seized. So I like anti-seize. So we'll go ahead and throw some anti-seize on there. We'll shove that on there. Just get it kind of close, and then when we get it up underneath the round baler, we'll get it lined up like it's supposed to be. You can just get anti-seize at your local parts stores. That's where I got this at, is at Napa. It's pretty inexpensive, but man, it'll save you a lot of headache in the future if you just put just a little bit on there. It's all it takes. Forgot a spacer. My wife just gave me the death stare because of it, because she's over there holding the other end. And I like to put some anti-seize in the bolt hole. I'll put some anti-seize in here too, just to kind of keep it from locking up. I don't ever plan on taking it back apart, but if I have to, I want to make sure I can get it apart. That's only reason why I'm locking it down pretty good right there is because I need to tighten up these lock collars, and when you spin them, they have a tendency to kind of push out whenever you hammer them with a punch. So if you lock it here, that way the shaft can't push it out. It'll make it stay in place pretty good. And I really appreciate you guys coming along for the little bit of stuff we did today. It's going to be a pretty lengthy video.